The Red Wings have the day off today, which opens the door for us to talk about them and their roster. We have a few things that I thought were interesting to point out, including an article on mlive.com. So, without further ado, let's go over what Derek Lalonde said today regarding somebody who is making his return, as well as what the plan may seem to be with two NHL caliber guys who are currently in the American Hockey League. Let's start out with the quote from earlier today. Derek Lalonde says that Tyler Bertuzzi is expected to be in tomorrow's lineup, and this was a long time coming. Tyler Bertuzzi is a guy that really is in a pretty intriguing spot, considering the injury, the fact that he was away for a while, and now that he's coming back. It had been, how long was it since his last game? Let's go over to the game log here. November 30th. So it's been a month since Bertuzzi was taken out of the lineup, and you take a look at the lines as well. He's playing back with Larkin and Raymond, which is a very nice blast to last season. I'm looking forward to seeing good things out of Tyler Bertuzzi for the remainder of the year, and then we will talk about the contract, because that is the next conversation that needs to happen surrounding this player and his status. Bertuzzi is currently making $4.7 million a year. He expires at the end of this season, and this year, he was at half a point a game pretty much in the 9-game sample that he had. We all kind of know Bertuzzi's a lot better than the production he has had so far. There was a 62-point in 68-game campaign that he had last year that was seen by many people as sort of the breakout year, quote-unquote, for Bertuzzi and his services. Now, there's a conversation talking about whether or not he's going to stick around, whether or not he's going to get traded. We already made the video talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs, because apparently they might have some extended interest in him. But either way, it's great to see Tyler Bertuzzi coming back to Detroit, even if this may be the last season that he has as a member of the Wings, depending on how the contract negotiations go. It's still nice seeing a good, talented player come back into the lineup after an extended amount of time out. Now, let's go over some of the guys that got sent down in order to free up the roster space to get Bertuzzi and Robbie Fabry back in the lineup too. We're going over onto mlive.com, because what Ansar Khan did was he wrote an article talking about what the Red Wings' next moves are going to be with Vrana and Nedeljkovic. This article was published earlier today at 6 a.m. I'm not sure if it's PST, I assume it's EST, so this might have been published at 3 a.m. over here in Vancouver, but either way, we're talking about two Detroit Red Wings to Grand Rapids Griffins players, starting out with Alex Nedeljkovic. Now, Nedeljkovic got sent down earlier this week, or last week, excuse me, on a conditioning stint after not playing for an extended amount of time. And quite frankly, when it comes to the Red Wings' holistic output on the season, Nedeljkovic has pretty much been the second in command, quote-unquote, to Ville Husso, and I say that very loosely. The reason being is that Ville Husso has just been better than Nedeljkovic at the NHL level. I mean, the numbers go out there and say it all. Husso this season has a .903 save percentage and a .295 goals against in 26 games, and Nedeljkovic has an .880 and a .409 goals against. So he has definitely been the inferior of the two netminders. It's not surprising when you watch the way these guys play that Husso has been getting wins and Nedeljkovic has not. Nedeljkovic got sent down, and it's looking more and more like Husso is going to be that stopgap, a really proper stopgap for the team before Sebastian Cossa comes out here and does his thing. He still is a Red Wings prospect, might we remind you, so there's a lot to look forward with that. And of course, we know Ned is not staying in the AHL for the rest of the season, he's only here for a while. But at the same time, there are still some very positive updates that we can talk about regarding him and his AHL play. He's played 3 games with the Grand Rapids Griffins, and he's looked pretty good. He's got a 2-0-2 record, so he's gotten a point in every single game he's suited up for so far, a 1.63 goals against in 3 games, and a .950 save percentage. So he's been stopping pucks at the American Hockey League level, and he's looked really good in the process. Take a look at what Ansar Khan writes over here, link in the description to the article. Nedeljkovic remains in good standing with the Red Wings. Lalonde mentioned earlier that before his conditioning assignment, the organization had not given up on him. He then flourished in a 3-game stretch in 4 nights, going 2-0-1 with a 1.63 goals against and a .950 save percentage. Nedeljkovic has not played since December 8th, and given his struggles with the Red Wings, this was a much-needed stint in the AHL to regain his rhythm and build confidence. Conditioning stints are a maximum 14 days, so the Red Wings can opt to keep him in Grand Rapids this week or bring him back to Detroit. The Wings cannot keep 3 goalies for the remainder of the season. They won't have the roster space once more injured players return like Bertuzzi and Zadina. They must eventually decide either on Ned or Hellberg as being Husso's backup. Now, for Magnus Hellberg, I mean, that guy's been claimed by almost every team under the sun at this point, and so we all kind of knew that him coming back to Detroit wasn't really the most long-term type of thing. The Red Wings needed an extra guy in net, and there was one on waivers, so they ended up taking a chance on him. But we'll see how the rest of the conditioning stint goes if the Red Wings decide to keep him down there. And going over to the other guy that we are talking about here as well, JAKUB VRANA. He finally got himself his first point in the AHL this season with an assist. He's got 6 games total on the Wings farm team and that 1 point. This is what Ansar Khan writes about when it comes to the Vrana situation right here. He struggled with the Griffins, no goals and 1 assist in a -6 in 6 games, and as Red Wings head coach Derek Lalonde noted after Friday's game, if he can't produce at the AHL level, he is not ready for the NHL. The hope for Vrana is potential, Lalonde said. Right now, he has 0 goals in 6 games. Theoretically, the idea of recalling him is easy to say when you're not scoring, but the potential of any goal scorer is something you would hope for. The next few paragraphs go over the relationship between Vrana and the Red Wings, talking about how it's quote-unquote deteriorated because they were willing to send him down, as well as to how much his stock has declined because no other team went out there and claimed him. Khan then concludes that because no team went out there and took Vrana on for free, it appears the only way this saga will end is with a trade, and that won't be easy for a player that cleared waivers. And I just gotta stop you right there. Is it not easier to trade players that have cleared waivers because they're able to get sent down with no more waivers? I'm really not sure if that's 100% accurate there, but either way, lower tier teams whose front offices are more focused on winning the Connor Bedard draft lottery would have no interest, and some playoff caliber teams don't have the cap space. The Red Wings would need to trade salary, etc., but either way, it is kind of an interesting take on Vrana that Ansar Khan writes here. I can't say I necessarily agree with it. I'm personally more of the mindset that Vrana had gone through a difficult time. He had to take some time off. He was in the NHLPA assistance program, and I mean, he's not going to be up to speed right away. So setting him down, seeing his $5 million cap hit be available to other NHL teams, Steve Yzerman probably did some due diligence on the rest of the league, acknowledging that his guy was going to get sent down, and they probably made some sort of a truce. Like, I would not be surprised if GM Yzerman hit up some other teams and was like, hey, my guy is on waivers, or I'm going to put him on waivers. I just got to get your guarantee that you're not going to take him because he really needs to get this conditioning stint done. And if other GMs are paying attention to the league, they would have seen him come out of the NHLPA assistance program, and they could have been like, okay, well, sure. I mean, we could see that he probably needs some more conditioning because he took so much time off, and so we're not going to claim him. Sure, Stevie. And that's probably what happened. I think it's more likely that this is more so just a process of Vrana resetting and getting back to form, rather than a sign that the relationship between the two parties has soured and that he's no longer a valuable asset that is going to get traded and everything. Vrana's a talented guy, and we all kind of knew this heading into the year. It's just unfortunate that he was not able to play as many games as he could have ever since getting traded to the Wings a few years ago for Anthony Mantha. He'd been out for a while with different things, and this is the time for everything to sort of work itself out before he slowly comes back to the NHL level, and that starts with scoring goals. Because even right now, the guy's got 1 point in 6 AHL games with the cap hit that he has. Even if you're Steve Yzerman and you're thinking about trading this guy away, what GM is going to go out there and say, oh, that looks like a good player? Like, we'll take that. Stevie Y is probably telling other GMs something along the lines of, hey, he's gone through a lot, he needed this conditioning stint, and we kind of need him to spend some more time working on himself before he's able to come back to the National Hockey League and be a solid player. And as a result, I think more NHL teams would respect that than try to defy Yzerman and say, okay, well, give us Vrana and a second, and we'll give you a 4th-round pick to take him off your hands. Like, I don't really think that's more likely to happen, but of course, I'm no insider. I'm just a guy sitting in my bedroom in Vancouver, Canada, so completely removed, but that's my opinion on the thing either way. My opinion is not more important than yours, so talk in the comments what your perspective and output is on this Bertuzzi, my goodness, this Vrana thing. Also, let me know in the comments your thoughts about Bertuzzi and Nedeljkovic as well. There's a lot going on in the Red Wings organization, so this could be a very nice opportunity for us to get some conversation going. Talk to the comments your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 9, and bye.